Rock that boogie, get your rocking shoes, we gonna rock and roll. Come on, cats, let's go, go, go. Hola.
Welcome back to another episode of El Pachuco Chronicles. This episode is a continuation of our interview with Daniel Valdez, with myself, Ray Estrella, and the rest of the crew. Hope you enjoy it.
Well, we opened in New York, and we were up in my dressing room. Lisa and I were in my dressing room talking about what we were going to do next. And the president of Mexico had sent a mariachi for us to play for us. And so they were outside the theater playing outside my dressing room. We were outside my dressing room. And they were playing La Bamba. And so when Luis says, "What do you want to do now?" I said, "I want to do the story of Richie Valens." So one thing led to another, right?
Holy cow.
Yeah. And actually, I had started working on La Bamba in 1973. I was going to do it after my first album. You know, the guy who I worked with, who ended up becoming our executive producer for La Bamba, was just he was just a documentary filmmaker here in LA working at KCT, and we got to be friends. So I had done a live concert for KCT to broadcast, and it was kind of a breakthrough because we did this thing called simulcast, where you turn the volume down on your TV and open your radio up and heard the music in stereo.
Yeah.
Right? Never been done before. So we pioneered that medium, and as a result, it aired on TV, and it was just my luck that a guy named Herb Alpert from the Tijuana Brass had seen the show, and he said, "I want that guy on the label." So they tracked me down through the KCT and through my friend, and I didn't know anything about signing contracts for.
Yeah.
So I went to Taylor and I said, "Listen, I need some help." He goes, "Well," he goes, "I have a friend who's a lawyer." He said, "We just started a production company and we can help you. We'll represent you and make your contract." Right? So he did that for me in 72. 73, the album came out. And then we tried to sell the idea of me playing Richie. I was 23 years old. And telling the story of Richie Valens. So we went around to different studios. This is 73. To try and sell it to people, and nobody would buy it. Nobody would even think about putting money into it. That guy happened to be Taylor Hackford, who ended up winning the Academy Award for the first, it was actually a documentary film he made called Teenage Unwed Fathers, and he won the Academy Award that year, and then he became a Hollywood Golden Boy. Then he did Officer and a Gentleman, and he went through the roof. So he's got 3 Oscars, right? And so when I finally found The Family, which was a miracle in itself, I called Taylor up and I said, "Hey," I said, "Do you remember that film we were trying to do?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I found The Family." He goes, "What?" I said, "I found The Family." He said, "The real family?" I said, "Yeah." He said, I got to see this. So it took me 5 years to convince The Family to allow us to do the movie. And I've turned out, it's just divine hand. It was Halloween night, and I was working on the story of La Bamba because I said, if I can't do a film, I'll do a musical. So I'm thinking of writing a musical about Richie, right? A lot of people knew that I was researching, that I tried to follow different leads that I had, and there was nothing available on Richie. I was on a promotion tour with Zoot Suit, and we were in Mill Valley, and this record collector came up to me after the interviews, and he said, "So what are you working on now?" I said, "Well, trying to do the story of Richie Valens." He said, "Richie Valens? What do you know about Richie Valens?" I said, "I haven't found anything." He said, and he said, "I own a shop, a record store. It's a collector's. Come to my shop after you've done with your interviews." So I went, and he came up with a box with every photograph and every article on Richie Valens that you could think of. And in that box was a videotape of a movie that he had made in 1959 with Chuck Berry, and it was a movie called Go Johnny Go. And it was the first visual performance of Richie Valens actually singing. So I said, wow, this is incredible stuff. So now I had all this material, but I didn't have the family. That's when I found out his name was Venezuela.
Yeah.
Halloween night, I get a phone call. A friend of mine who's tending bar in San Juan. He said, hey, you still working on that story? I said, yeah. He goes, there's two guys here in the bar who says they're Richie Valens' brothers. I said, get out of here. It's Halloween night. He said, pregando aquí, you know. He said, well, you could pass it if you want, but you don't know if they're real or not. So I were, man, at midnight going to the bar, and I meet these two guys, long hair, bikers,
Bob.
dressed in leathers, and it's Bob and Mario. And he said, they asked me, why are you interested in telling Richie's story? I said, because he's important. I said, he's a very instrumental figure in history. So we talked for about half an hour. They just listened. They didn't trust anybody, you know, especially when it comes to Richie. So we left. I just chalked it up and said, well, I don't know if they were real or not. 3 weeks later, I get a knock on my door. And I open the door, and there's Bob and Mario, and a woman standing behind them. It was Connie,
His mother.
So we became friends, and they were at my house literally every weekend. And for the next 5 years, we worked on the story, right? I mean, so when I called my buddy up, this is 20 years later. I said, hey, remember you want to do that film? He goes, yeah. I said, I found the family. He goes, oh, my God. So we ended up bringing the family to Hollywood, and we signed a contract.
Great story.
Yeah, it was an amazing story. I mean, the play, it's right. One thing led to another. So I say, Zoot Suit led me to La Bamba.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the connection was there.
Wow.
I am awed by all this information. I really am. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
a lot of stuff, you know. The history of the way things come together sometimes, it's an amazing thing.
Well,
I love, you know, for our younger listeners out there, to hear the work that goes into
years.
the research
Years.
and the patience to let it happen, and to do it in the good way, to reach out to the families and to
Exactly. I mean,
and both of them. What was the result? You know, you contacted the families of these Pachucos, the ones that were arrested. Were you in contact with them after all this had blown up and everything? And was there some sort of like
Connection.
yeah, well,
change for them in a positive
yeah,
way?
it was a difficult period for them, you know, because this mancha had been revealed all over again. So they had to explain to their kids and their kids' kids what had happened to them, right? And a lot of them had changed their names, and they were living under a different name because they didn't want anybody to know. What was crazy was in that article, the LA Times, when they printed the article for the story of Zoot Suit, they printed the actual photograph of the guys coming out of the courtroom when they won, right? So all their faces were exposed. So it was in the news and the LA Times, man. So we got this response. At first it was very negative. You know, they said, why did you tell this story? You know, it's not really a good story for us to reveal. And the more we talked to them, the more they understood why we were doing it, why it was important. And the amazing thing was that we were able to come to an agreement with them, those who were survived, that we would not use their real names, and we would make sure we would only keep the story condensed to the actual event that happened. You know, and that's one of the reasons we used the composites for the characters, because there were so many of them. Right? The amazing thing was that it was the first time we'd actually worked on a material where we were actually dealing with the people who were involved. You know, and I mean, same thing would happen with La Bamba. You know, when we had the family there. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. I mean, than having the actual people there. You know, and, I felt it was an honor to be able to tell the story of Henry Lebas and what happened to him and
Question. You guys have been.
how an important character he was. And there was another woman Alice McGrath, who becomes Alice Bloomfield in the play. She was the head responsible for the Sleepy Lagoon Defense Committee, and she had stories about the real guys and what happened. So we got a lot of information.
You're
from
not
it.
kidding.
Yeah, so this was a gold mine in terms of the stuff that we have found, right? And then we started interviewing people. We ran into reporters who had written for the LA Times in the 1940s, who started telling us their angle on the story. I mean, so all this gathering really gave us the original version of Zoot Suit was totally different than what you see now.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was much more smaller, more intimate, and it was an amazing piece because we were trying to tell a documentary story about what happened. So we relied a lot on the transcripts. The transcripts really told the story of what actually happened. The event that actually took place at the Sleepy Lagoon thing, we didn't learn that except when we started meeting with the guys, and they started filling in all this the stories, right? And who was there, who was not there, and to this day they still. Jose Diaz, who changed his name, who was murdered at the Sleepy Lagoon, he was actually run over by a car. There was a party that was going on there, and he got crazy, and in the process, this guy comes out of the house, and I guess he was trying to walk away, and this car took and killed him. Oh. So that's what the murder was about, you know. And so the case was, how do you convict 22 guys for the single murder of a man who was killed by a car? I mean, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But this is the stuff that we found in the actual transcripts, and some of those things were just horrific in terms of some of the descriptions that they talked about Chicanos and Pachucos and who they were and how they were Aztec warriors, bloodthirsty.
Yes.
These were actual words that came out of the prosecutor's mouth. There was 5 lawyers for the prosecution and 7 lawyers for the defense. And it was 3.5 months. I mean, it was a big story, man. It was a big story. So the story of Zoot Suit is the story of all of us. Wow. It's us in the city and trying to survive in the city and trying to adjust. And to do that, we had to become somebody else, and that's who we became, Pachucos.
Wow.
But we just
I don't have anything else to ask.
we found a gold mine with Lalo because Lalo gave us,
You found gold mines with everything.
with Lalo, with the caló. ¿Qué le voy a echar mis trapos? Esos trapos me los planté porque no dejaron echar un play, ¿sabe? Nel, ¿sabe qué? Usted está muy verdolaga. I mean, these were words
Yes.
actually Lalo used in his recordings.
Yes.
Authentic.
Yeah. So I'd never heard anything like that, man. I'd never heard that kind of slang before. And I remember going back to my dad and saying, what does this mean? He just laughed and he said, no, it's cochinada. Never mind.
It's cochinada.
And the word vato in my house didn't exist. I used it one time and he slapped me across the room. You know, the connotation was bad.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
but there were stories upon stories. You know,
You guys really, I didn't realize how much work went in. This is years and years
Yeah.
and years.
Yeah, it took a while. I
It
mean,
wasn't just something like us today. It took years to get to this point.
it developed over the years. You know what I mean? The actual performance was '78, and we had actually started working on the idea of Zoot Suits in 1968. Luis had been sent this pamphlet called the Sleepy Lagoon Murder Case. It was just a simple black and white pamphlet somebody sent us. So he had it in his files, right? Because he knew it would make a great story, but it took 10 years before it actually appeared, right? And when Gordon Davidson said, "Can you guys do something for this 10-day run that we're going to do?" He said, "Yeah, we can come up with something." And so the idea of Zoot Suit was born.
But why did you guys call it Baby Zoo?
Because it was a baby. It was a baby Zoot, and it was totally different than the actual performance that you see now. I mean, the show that you see now, which became the film, was much more stylized. the original Baby Zoot actually had sets, the inside of a house, which ended up in the movie. We ended up creating the house in the movie, but in the stage production, it was actual house with a yard, and there were scenes out there with mangueras there, and there was a phone booth that was sat that we put in the audience, where Rudy comes home from the war, and he calls his family, and he's actually in the audience in a phone booth, calling his mother, who's on stage. It was just crazy stuff.
Wow.
It was crazy stuff, man. And slowly it started to change, and it was much more serious because we focused more on the case, the actual case itself. By the time we went to the second step, that was the performance that came in 79, 78, and that one was much more stylized. We got rid of the sets. We did it on a flat floor.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that was consistent with the costumes, the actual prison was done on newspaper bundles.
Yeah.
We put newspaper bundles on the ground, and the guys sat on a chair. It became this courtroom. Right? I mean, it was crazy.
That's nuts.
But I mean, the idea was we're trying to bring two things together. One was the fact that the press had a certain image about zoot suits, and then there was the other side of the story, which was being told by the guys. I mean, the contrast was amazing, but it was a powerful piece, really powerful piece.
Sheesh. Got any questions, Phil?
No. Brings
Jim?
back a lot of memories.
Yeah,
You know, because-
how was it for you when you saw it?
Well, like you say, things were a lot different then.
What was your experience like? And-
Well, things were different. Like you said, it was not something good. The
Yeah.
Pachuco was always something very derogative.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe when I saw the play that it was actually a live play. And I remember walking out of that performance, walking down the aisle, thinking, I have to be involved in this somehow. I don't know how. I'm not a dancer. I'm not a musician. I'm not in theater.
I don't sew.
Well, I saw it a little bit more. So I said, but I can make the suit. I can make the suit. So that's why we're here today.
That's interesting because the play set off all kinds of inspirations for different things, right? And the dancing, I mean, really became a real issue because we had to bring in some people who had, in their prime, they were dancers, they were hoofers, they call them hoofers. These were guys who actually really danced the jitterbug, and knew how to really dance the jitterbug. And learning how to do that was so crazy. It was an eventful event, you know. But it was the people that we tapped who had been around for years and no one really appreciated their knowledge. So we started pulling out the tailor that we brought in. You know, we brought in this guy to do some of the choreography, and he had been a dancer in the 1940s in the clubs. He used to dance in the clubs. Right? They had these dinner clubs now in the 40s where they would do cabaret shows.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those dancers were still around. So we brought them in as teachers to teach us how to dance. Because a lot of that stuff had been lost, you know, and just learning how to dance with a chain was already. I mean,
A chain with the keys on the end. Now we know. And the tondo.
yes, el tando, yeah, the hat.
Yes. Where did that? Because we created our own.
It came up. Well, you know, we started studying this stuff, and in one of Lalo's recordings, he referred to the hat as the tando, and so that's where we got the word from. And when we started looking into it, we found some old guys in LA who used to make hats at that time period. So we brought him in to make hats for the cast, specifically for Eddie. Eddie had to have a special kind of hat, you know. But I mean, being able to tap on people who actually lived it
Yes.
was something else.
And you guys still have that original, like a lot of original stuff, like the hat. I saw it there.
Yes, in the Smithsonian Institute.
I saw it years ago in San Juan.
Yeah.
You guys had it in a box.
Yeah, but the
Nelson, the
original
Smithsonian.
original Smithsonian Institute. And a copy of my costume is in there, and some of the rest of the stuff is in there. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it was opening night in New York. We went to Sardi's, and it was an event in itself because as much as that there was a good side of Zoot Suit, there was also a bad side because when we opened in New York to a huge audience, it was sold out. The critics took us apart. Out of the 9 major newspapers, only one gave us a good review. They thought it was a piece of crap, and that we were changing history and trying to. It was horrible stuff that was written about it. So that night at Sardi's, it's opening night. The tradition is you open on Broadway and you go to Sardi's and you have the party and you wait because the New York Times is right next door to Sardi's. And the tradition is you would literally get the newspaper right out of the press.
Yeah.
You could read the review while you were still at Sardi's. So at Sardi's, it was this huge opening night, man. We had movie stars. We had all kinds of people in there. We were all in there waiting, and the reviews started coming in, and you could see their faces drop, and it was horrible. I mean, they bombed us. Normally, plays on Broadway who get bombed by the critics close the second night. They usually close the following night. Well, Zoot Suit never closed because Latinos didn't read reviews.
Wow.
We didn't believe in reviews. So the audience kept coming. Consistently, we ended up on Broadway until May. We opened in March and we went to May or April. But it was a horrific experience. We ran into racism all over again. Wow. I mean, so as much as we were talking about something that happened in the 1940s, it was still real.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Still real today.
Yep.
History repeats itself
Yep.
in different ways, of course, but
Right.
we're experiencing
Yeah,
it.
if you tried to get this at the Lincoln Center now,
Right.
it wouldn't happen.
Right. Exactly.
So,
I mean, in many ways, we got first in a lot
other
of
theaters?
experiences like that. You know, I mean, we've been back to Broadway a few times. I was there with Linda for 3 weeks. It was a totally different audience now, you know. But in 1979, it was still very segregated. It had never been a Chicano play on Broadway. You know?
wow.
I mean, the
Wow.
National Geographic magazine came out and took pictures of us like pygmies, you know, we're in front of the market of Winter Garden Theater. But it was quite an experience, a historical moment.
Wow.
And I was there.
Well, Mom, if you wouldn't have gone and had your vision and just the way you are,
Well, I remember one
we're
Sunday.
not going to change your mind.
No. One Sunday afternoon, we were cruising in L.A., your dad and I, and we saw this billboard. It said, Zoot Suit. Oh, I lost my mind. I said, Ray, we have to go see this. Have to. So we immediately bought the tickets, and it was everything we thought it would be.
Well, it was interesting because, you know, people didn't associate Pachucos with Zoot Suits. We made that connection. You know, using the word Zoot Suit really brings it to the point because it was a phenomenon that crossed the country. I mean, the Andrews sisters had a hit on the radio called Zoot Suit for My Sunday Gal.
Yes, I remember that.
It was a big deal.
Yes.
So consequently, when we did the movie, I created the 3 Pachucas because of the Andrews sisters.
Yes, I remember them. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
I
Jeez.
remember them.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Well, definitely can't believe all these stories. I want to bring see if Vanessa has a minute because I know she wanted to ask you something before we close out. But I could listen to them all day.
Oh,
All the-
we have to
all the
give him a
different
break
stories.
at some point.
Vanessa, do you have anything you want to say
Here,
or ask?
I'll let her sit
Or
here.
you should sit right here and close us out. Here, I'll take that.
Hi everyone, this is Vanessa. Hi Daniel, muchas
Hello.
gracias. Thank you for being here. I didn't hear the entire conversation, just bits and pieces. I'm here with a customer, Aki. You guys probably know him from Malo, the band. But thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time, for being here, for creating such a spectacular play and movie, and you and your brother, and for making this business wouldn't be here if it wasn't for what you guys created.
Thank you.
Your brightness
Thank you.
is just so amazing. And so I'm so happy that you're here, that you were able to do this. I'm sure it was a very long podcast, and I can't wait to hear it because I heard sneak peeks, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to hear more.
When he starts talking about Lalo and doing the same thing, like talking to Carlo, oh my God.
Yeah, I felt bad you weren't sitting here with us.
Well, it's going to be even more exciting. One, because I saw the taping of it, and two, because once I hear it in the entire full version, I'm just going to be like, I
didn't say.
And just as excited as the public.
My brother actually had Zoot Suit actually. They actually produced it in Mexico City. Yeah, and it was
In
all
Espanol?
all done in Spanish. The whole thing was
Wow.
Spanish. Yeah, it was an amazing experience because they call it Fiebre Latina in
Latina.
Mexico. Yeah, and I mean, it had a huge audience. It's still there, right? Truly.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard recently in Japan, there's a big thing about lowriders and zoot suits.
Yes,
Yes,
they've taken
they're-
over the culture.
yes.
Yeah,
They love the Chicano culture.
I may be going there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm inviting myself. Let's go.
Yeah, I think we might be doing a zoot suit show, band, an orchestra.
Well, let us know if we can help you.
Yeah.
I know you were just telling me that you were working with a 63-piece orchestra in Colorado, and I love to hear everything that you're doing and how you continue to bring the Chicano culture to life with everything that you do with music, with anything that you put your hands
Thank you.
into. But I can't wait to hear the entire podcast. Again, muchas gracias. It is an honor to have you here at the store.
Igualmente.
And the lead singer Malo said he will help.
Yes, I was just talking to Aki. Ciao. See, we have, again, we're here at El Pachuco.
We got a
You
lot
never
going on
know
here.
who's going to be here. Ray's doing a podcast.
Pleasure to meet you.
Igualmente.
Ray's doing a podcast with Daniel Valdez, and I'm over here
Selling a suit?
dressing up, selling a suit to Aki from Malo. And again, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I have no words to express my gratitude.
No,
and
your story is really important because, I mean, it's an actual historical landmark. I mean, the fact that people can actually come here and actually have a zoot suit made and buy what you need. I mean, it's so very important. I mean, because zoot suit in itself was much more than just a play. It was an attitude. And,
Oh, definitely.
and it was an identity. And
Yes.
it gives us something really strong for us to wrap ourselves around, and I am just overwhelmed to see how wonderful your story is.
What was the first thing he said when he saw the story? You need to make a commercial.
Have you made? He asked us. We were turning the corner last night after we picked him up from the airport, and he said, "Have you made a commercial in front of your building?" And we said, "No, you need to." So now we have to make a commercial.
Jim?
Okay, I'll make one.
Absolutely, absolutely, with cars and everything.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. It'd be very
Definitely.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Muchas
you,
gracias.
Daniel. Gracias a ti.
Ándale.
Anything you want? Any closing remarks, Phil?
No.
Did you dance the
Everything's been
jitterbug?
said.
No, I didn't know how. I wish
Yeah.
in my dreams that's the only time that I wish I could.
Yeah, some of those dances were just incredible.
They
man.
were.
Yeah, we did one. We did a photo shoot with this guy in New York where we actually had to do the lifts, right? You do the lifts, and one of them was up and down and then through the legs.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yes,
and-
yes.
I wasn't that good at it. I mean, I kept dropping the girl.
Oh no.
It was an interesting dance, just the way.
Oh yes,
the way they
it was
moved,
very.
But it was an amazing time, an absolutely amazing time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
You got any closing remarks? I mean, I'm gonna have to bring you back because I want to hear more stories. Seriously, we're gonna have to do this
We'll
again.
track you down. We'll
Yes.
bring our recorder. You can see it's very portable.
Yes.
No, but I'm inviting everybody to come and see
Because
the
hearing
come see
all
the-
your little stories, the tidbits, everything about
Thank you.
how you came about, that is amazing. Amazing, even with La
Every
Bamba.
word that came out of his mouth, every word. Yes. Okay. No, I'm not getting started. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Now we're taking a picture, everybody.
Yes, smile. Okay, where are you leaning, Phyllis? Alrighty, here we go. And one more, in case you guys blinked.
Yeah. Take a few. Take some horizontal ones too.
All right.
Daniel likes to blink.
Yeah, okay, we go. Phyllis, lean in a little more, or maybe I'll move. And that microphone's in your face there, the big one. Okay, we go. Okay, see how
Thank
you
you.
like this?
You know,
Thank you.
One of the last things I'll tell you is that his zoot suit is available now for
He can do
actual
a commercial.
performances, right? So you get high school kids
Yes,
who are actually staging the piece.
yes. They call us.
Yeah, we had actually I saw a performance in Stanford.
They're old school.
Yeah, and a girl played the Pachuco.
Oh,
I remember that one.
And
They contacted us.
She was incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. So the influences of the play itself, it's going around. It's now being taught in schools, right? It's curriculum for history.
It is.
I mean, it's a piece of history. It's still alive.
That's why I want everybody to come to the movie.
Yeah,
It's a
come-
piece of history. Like, come meet the man. He's here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim,
you're
for
welcome.
running in.
I'm not sure what I did, but you're welcome.
No, for being here, and no, thank you for all everything. Seriously, I appreciate the stories. We wouldn't be here with the store. We wouldn't be here with. I wouldn't have friends like my mom was saying. We wouldn't know half the people we knew because of Zoot Suit. It's made so many connections, and like you said, it's not just a movie. It's a lifestyle. It's who you are. And here, like I said, we're really not in the clothing business. We're in the memory making business.
Right.
Because everybody comes and sees us for their weddings, the big things, not just little things. We're part of their lives. So
Right.
we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Jim, go ahead. Close this out, brother.
I'm not sure I really have anything to add for that. Thank you all for turning in. It's honestly a pleasure to be able to share this episode with you all. Miigwech, as I say in my language. Thank you. And that wraps up this episode of El Pachuco Chronicles.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Wonderful.
Check. One, two, check. All right. Trick time. Winner. True trap out. Check out. Check. All right. Rock that boogie, 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 rock that boogie. Rock that boogie.